I'll call the meeting to order at 6:10 p.m. on October the 11th, 2021. First, I'd like just to do a roll call vote, just so we have the members that will be making up the quorum. And I also want to note that we have 3 members recused, and that's David Fleming, Phil Cook, and Kay Rogers. And I believe, I'm not sure if they're all present or not, but now I'll do a roll call. Mike Semaine?
Here.
Larry Shoddy?
Here.
Billy Sherrill?
Here.
Herb Cook?
Here, ma'am.
Carl Steinbach?
Here.
Melissa Cole?
Here.
And myself. All right, thank you. Okay, I'd just like to welcome everyone. Judge Fisher, thank you for coming this evening. Do we have any other elected officials present? I'd like to recognize you if you're here.
Recording in progress.
That's good. The next thing is virtual and in-person comments. Limit 3 minutes per person. I don't know that we had a sign-up sheet, Jim.
Yeah, they did.
You do? Right.
They will handle virtual, I guess.
Okay. The first one is Hugh Brown.
Hello,
State your name.
I'm Hugh Brown, and as you know, I'm a landowner in Lee County. I've spoken to you many times before. I have a Simsboro well, and anyway, I want to first thank you for now the policy of mitigation. You know, I've been speaking about mitigation for a long time, but recently I've been speaking to you about the question of increasing recharge into the aquifer, so we have more water for everybody. And I've made a few remarks in the past. I would just like to keep it pretty short this time. There's a whole lot of research, and a whole lot of knowledge, and a whole lot of techniques in the subject of soil conservation. And soil conservation is largely about preventing erosion. And erosion is largely about stopping runoff. Now, if we stop runoff, we put more water into the ground. So, if we want to do some things to increase or help other people do things to increase recharge, a good place to start is soil conservation. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge, a tremendous number of techniques, there's a tremendous amount of information out there on how to do this. And I believe there's also probably money from various government outfits that would help make this happen. So this is a place to start with known techniques that are only going to help not just with the recharge, but help with the soil and with the productivity of the land. So anything that the district can do on this in this direction would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Nancy McKee.
Good evening to each of you. My name is Nancy McKee, and I live on County Road 411 in Lexington. I have just received a current list from a well contractor, 5 pages of failed wells he's had to address. These are what you'd call shallow wells, as they're not part of Simsboro, but Carrizo, Wilcox. These are real figures, real failures, and I bring them up tonight because it is obvious we cannot rely on hydrologist reports, graphs, and proposed recharging. On the horizon are more permits in waiting, ready to start pumping at a specified date. Each time we are told not to worry, won't affect Carrizo, these are for pumping much deeper into Simsboro. Funny, that's just what was told to us when Visitor Ridge began operation, and look where we are now. Quite frankly, I don't believe anything that is told to me with regard to where my water well will be in the future. While I cannot intellectually compete with the educated professionals, I can tell you what I know. I know my well has failed, and the pump had to be lowered, and faces another lowering, which at the rate the water level is lowering, will only last me a couple of years. I know the level in my well has dropped a total of 72.8 feet since this all began. I know nearly every family down my road, County Road 411, has had well failures. It's like waiting each day to see which one will bite the dust, and that's no pun intended. So I say to you this evening, you are already painfully aware of the water well failures happening to so many residents due to the April 2020 initiation of Vista Ridge pumping. One only has to go as far as Mr. Todd's office to see the mitigation plan and what it's costing and will continue to cost. I bring this to your attention to implore you to please take a sober, grave consideration when approving drawdown rates for the many permits before you. As I have said to you many times, please keep your mission statement at the forefront of your decisions, that being to protect the water supply for the citizens of Bastrop and Lee counties.
Thank you, Ms. McKee. Don Hardy.
I'm Don Hardy, and I want to say first that Nancy's right. I'm sure you'll know, but she's in a position where, as the Carrizo has been drawn down, the experts expected it to be uniform. They didn't realize there's probably a fault under Highway 77, so it's dropped dramatically on one side and not so much on the other. And my point, what I'm leading up to is, you can't trust the experts that are giving you advice. I'll remind you, I'm from the bottomlands of the Yegwa, and it's an area where the water table is real high, and subsequently we have green grass and we have springs that flow everywhere. It's a sweet spot. I don't know if that's going to be the case if the water level drops. But first I want to tell you an interesting metaphorical story. Years ago, 200 years ago, if you got sick, there were medical experts that would treat you, and the most often treatment, they were so good at it, was through bloodletting. They would bleed you to get rid of the bad blood. So if I took you to the doctor 200 years ago and I said, Dr. Fauci, how much blood can we take from this person? They would tell you, we know how much to take. And the only way they would know that they were wrong, that they took too much, is if the patient died. And it's believed that that's what George Washington died from. He had pneumonia, and the most common treatment for pneumonia was bloodletting. They think he ultimately died from bloodletting. There was another one, James Garfield, who was shot. And he ultimately died from the assassin's bullet, but they say he probably didn't die from the assassin's bullet. He died from the experts who stuck their unwashed fingers in the hole trying to dig for the bullet. But it was a small caliber bullet, it didn't penetrate deep, he probably would have lived. So your job is to decide how much water we can pump out of our aquifers safely. And that would be an easy job if you knew the Simsboro, for example. We're pumping, if you add up all the wells pumping out of the Simsboro, we're pumping about 18,000 acre feet per year. So if you knew, well, the recharge is 20,000 acre feet, you know, hey, we've got 2,000 acre feet to play with, and we're not damaging anything. As fast as we pump it, it fills up. We're great. The problem is, ask any expert how much recharge is flowing in. And it varies year to year, but what is the average recharge into the Simsboro? And either they can't give you a straight answer or they're a liar. That's all there is to it, because they don't know. And the real experts will come right out and tell you, we have models, but we don't know. And what I'm suggesting to you is that you not treat our aquifers like the doctors from 200 years ago and pump, 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 only to subsequently find out you did too much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. John DeGomez?
That video is running way behind us. The video is running way behind us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John DeGomez, and I spoke the last time we had a meeting here, and I am going to coattail on what was said about the 77 in Lexington. My property, which I purchased in 2011, is west of the 77, and it was I first called out Mr. Totten, or the Lost Pine Groundwater Conservation District, to measure my wells back in, it was 2013, 2014, and 2015. So I had a pretty good idea of what my water situation was at that time. In 2016, I must have been out of town or something, because Mr. Totten came out and measured wells in that area. I wasn't able to get my well remeasured. It was remeasured this year, this summer, and it has dropped 20 feet. Now, I understand that my well is something like 950 feet, so to lose 20 feet in the course of 5 years, that's causing me to be worried about what's going on. Hence, my presence here to tell you my story. I also have been concerned about this whole idea of recharge, because on my property and in the adjoining property, there are multiple springs. However, if there's multiple springs on my property, perhaps and possibly an avenue for recharge, it's certainly not happening. I've lost 20 feet of water. Now, the people that are on the other side of the 77 losing even more significant amounts, I'm not a hydrologist, I'm not a geologist, I don't understand these things, but I'm concerned about my having lost 20 feet out of this well that's 950 feet deep. So whatever is being considered by this panel as far as granting any entity or any person a right to drill into and take water out of the aquifer that I am currently enjoying, I'm definitely against that. And
It's time, sir. You can finish up.
okay. Also, if there's anybody here that can give me any kind of a path to object even further, I have experience as a trial attorney in California and Los Angeles, and I would be delighted to be able to be involved in any sort of litigation in the event that should be necessary. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. DeGomez. Ernie Bogart?
Hi, my name is Ernie Bogart. My wife and I own 26 acres of land about 3 miles east of Elgin. We don't have any wells. We've been told that we couldn't drill any wells if we wanted to. There's just not any water under my land. I'm dependent upon aqua water supply for water. But what I want to say to the board is that the absence or the falling of the water table has more adverse effects than just simply the failure of wells. It can change the whole topographical effect. It can affect the existence of trees, grass, wildlife. If any of you have seen the film about the village or the valley in California that was turned into a desert because of diverting water to a large city, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm concerned that any decision that results in a continued lowering of the aquifer is one that's going to be destructive to this county in the future. Now, I'm 79, I may not live another 50 years, but the people that are going to be here need to have an aquifer that's productive for them, for their water, for the water needs in this county, and it will support the existing vegetation and wildlife that we have. I appreciate very much your service. It's a difficult job. 20 years ago, I was asked to serve on the school board in Elgin, and I told them I would rather cover my body with syrup and lay on a fire ant bed. And you're kind of in the same position. I know it's a tough one. But thank you for your service, and I hope you'll keep in mind that the future of Bastrop County depends on what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bevan. Andy Ware?
Good evening. I'm Andy Weir. Have a land here in Bastrop County. I have a well in the Simsboro formation of the Carrizo-Wilcox. I'm here representing Simsboro Aquifer Water Defense Fund, SAWDEF, and just want to speak to your upcoming board meeting. And this week, SAWDEF released a report titled Economic Impacts to Domestic and Livestock Wells from the Proposed Desired Future Conditions, and was released to all the districts, and I'm hoping that it can be considered in next week's board meeting, that you all can look at that, because there's the potential under the proposed desired future conditions of doing close to $400 million in damages to domestic and livestock wells in Bastrop and Lee County, and that's something that I think that's almost $500 million. That's worth looking at. And so we'll hope that you all will include that in your discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ware. Are there anyone else that didn't get signed up that would like to make a comment? Is there anyone remote? Oh, yes, come in, Judge.
I'm Paul Fisher, and I'm the county judge of Lee County for 1 more year, 2 months, and about 15 days. So, and if you're looking for some fire ants, I got them on my plate. My wife asked me, "Are you going to say anything?" I said, "Nope, I'm going here tonight just to listen." I have a deep concern. Matter of fact, you can say I think about it quite a bit. I see what LCRA is requesting. Y'all got a tough decision to make. And I think Mr. Simak will say he's heard this story before. I know we got to share water, but we need to do it slowly. And, I've said this before, right now there's $1 to be made. And just got through talking about, somebody help me, I drew a blank. Samsung coming to Taylor. If you look down the future, there's going to be subdivisions, and it's going to affect Lee County. It's going to affect Monmouth County if this deal goes through. And it's going to require more water. And I can almost bet you I know where that water is going to come from. And, it's there. We have a future. And the people who are right now thinking about making money is going to ruin the future for my grandchildren and your grandchildren and a whole bunch of other ones. It's like the gentleman said, he's, 79, I'm 72. And, the concern is there of what I'm going to leave here. But we cannot keep on going and giving more acre feet of water that eventually, where do we stop of giving acre-feet of water? What is the plan when we start seeing, and which we're already seeing, just by our neighboring county of what it's doing to the wells, and everybody that's asked for water isn't pumping yet. And we don't know what that holds. But again, please think about it. It's serious, very serious. And I come back again, I told Billy a while ago, when I retire, please don't ask me to serve on this board, because I know the tough job you guys got. And I commend you for it. And it's decisions that you got to make sometimes are not popular. So please continue the work you're doing, and let's protect our water, but I understand we need to share it. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Fisher. Do we have anybody remote that would like to make comments?
If they'll put their name in the chat, we'll unmute them. If you can say that over the mic, please.
Okay, if you are joining us remotely, if you would put your name in the chat room, then we will recognize you. I'm not seeing any, so we'll go ahead and proceed. Agenda item 4, continued final hearing from July 14th, 2021 on applications of the Lower Colorado River Authority for operating permits and transport permits for 8 wells located in Bastrop County, Texas, and the administrative law judge's proposal for decision issued in SOA docket number 952-19-0705, recommending granting said permits in an aggregate amount of 25,000 acre-feet of water per year from the Simsboro Aquifer, along with terms and conditions. At this time, the board will be going into executive session. The board, note on the session, we are going into the executive session to consult with our attorneys regarding any posted matter in which the board may seek advice of its attorneys under Government Code 551.071, or for any action on the agenda for which a closed session is permitted by law, and we will reconvene an open session for any appropriate action on any matter considered in executive session. Okay, so we are leaving now at 6:33.
Permit to transport 25,000 acre-feet per year.
Okay, I'm going to wait for a second on that, but I've got a question for you before. Do we have a second?
I'm going to second.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Sorry about that. Is the motion then to strike the part of the draft permit that deals with the phased-in approach over time and simply grant a 5-year 8,000 acre-foot permit?
Correct.
Okay. Is that the intention of the second?
It is.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to try to repeat this. I'm not sure I'll get it exactly right. Board member Melissa Cole has motioned to grant a 5-year production permit for 8,000 acre-feet of water per year. She also said she strikes every finding of fact and conclusion of law referencing the definition of waste. She also suggested that we grant a 30-year transport permit for the 25,000 acre-feet, and we're also canceling the phasing. Is that adequate?
Mm-hmm.
All right, does any one of the board members have any questions?
Or deliberation?
Any thoughts, discussion, deliberation? So we have a motion and a second to grant the 5-year production permit for 8,000 acre-feet of water per year. striking every finding of fact and conclusion of law, referencing the definition of waste, granting a 30-year transport permit for 25,000 acre-feet, and canceling the phased approach. We're going to do a roll call vote. Director Sabine?
Yes.
Director Shoddy?
Yes.
Director Sherrill?
Yes.
Director Cook?
Yes, ma'am.
Director Steinbach?
Yes.
And Director Cole?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So we have a unanimous decision. It passes.
I'm astounded.
Pardon?
I'm astounded. Okay.
Okay.
I think that concludes
That
the business.
completes agenda item, let's see, no, wrong page. Okay, now we are down to agenda item 6, consideration of and possible action on a resolution designating one or more places inside the district in Lee and Bastrop counties for conducting of meetings of the board. Mr. Totten, would you like to cover this?
Don't have any indication on the agenda. I looked at the agenda.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, I thought we had everyone muted.
Yeah.
The resolution that's in front of you, this is, in the past, long before I was here, the district had a formal policy of adopting a resolution for every new meeting spot that the district was going to use. Over time, that just became a matter of you doing board actions. So the resolution that's before you is basically going back and reformalizing all the adopted meeting places that the district has used and has approved to use for district board meetings. This includes places we don't use anymore, like Bastrop City Hall, places we've used recently, like Aqua's conference room, and also adds the new First National Bank here in Bastrop as a designated meeting spot. So this is just a resolution to kind of clean up and formalize all the places that have been approved for district meeting places.
I don't find a copy in my packet of the resolution, but I did see it online. Do we need to read the resolution or just add to it?
I don't know that it needs to be read. I'm seeing Greg shake his head. I can't see Natasha, so like I said, the resolution is posted as part of the packet, and it is just listing of the designated meeting places. So we can take, like I say, it's really just a cleanup action, just to get kind of formalize the decisions the board's made in the past 5 to 6 years with regard to meeting points.
Does someone else have the resolution with them? Do you want just a motion to add the First National Bank? I thought it was already added. No?
It is added, but like I said, in the past, we had resolutions that listed all of our meeting places. This was practice, I would say back in the, I've been here since 2012, and so this was a practice back in the early years of the district. And so Natasha just wanted to go back and reformalize the approved meeting places that the district has approved during the past 5 to 6 years.
Okay. Does someone have a copy they'd like to read?
President Smith, this is Natasha Martin, and I'm on Zoom.
Hi, Natasha.
And so this was circulated, I believe it is on the packets online, but I can go ahead and read the meeting places that had not been approved by a formal resolution for the board.
Please do.
The Board of Directors of the Lost Pines Groundwater Conservation District designates the following places for regular and special call board meetings and public hearings: the Page Community Center in Page, Texas; American Legion Hall, Lexington, Texas; Aqua Water Supply Corporation, Bastrop, Texas; First National Bank, Bastrop, Texas; Lost Pines Groundwater Conservation District Office, Smithville, Texas; and the Giddings Public Library in Giddings, Texas. So if you want to call for a motion on those places, I think that would formalize the adoption of those those spots that hadn't been adopted
And,
previously.
Natasha, just to make sure we are clear that those were all officially adopted by the district, or by the board at one point in time or another over the past few years.
Right.
And this is just reformalizing that adoption, correct?
Okay.
That is correct.
Would someone like to make a motion to reformalize the resolution approving our meeting places?
I make a motion that we reformalize for the meeting places.
I'll second that motion.
Is there any questions, discussion?
Kathy Rogers here.
Yes?
Natasha said I can be in on this part of the meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, First National Bank has, I think, 3 or 4 locations in Bastrop. Those we want to specify is the main location that has the community training room.
That is an excellent point, yes, ma'am. So specifically when the board originally adopted it, we did adopt it by address.
Okay.
So I apologize for the shorthand, but it was adopted by that address.
Okay.
Would you like to amend the motion to say we're going to adopt the meeting locations, but that we will alternate between the Giddings Library and the First National Bank in Bastrop? Is that what you're asking? Okay?
Yeah.
Alternate between the Giddings Library, one meeting, and then the First National Bank in Bastrop at the next meeting. And alternate like that year long, which means our next meeting will be October 20th in Bastrop at the First National Bank. Okay, who made the motion originally?
I did.
Will you accept that substitute?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Second?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Did Kay vote on that too? She voted on that as well, right?
Yes. Kate
Okay.
deferred. Yes. Yeah, that is the end of our agenda. So unless anyone has anything further, this meeting is adjourned at 8:08.